And the interesting thing about between these two films is I found the 70s version almost evolved, where Scott just said like the more recent film becomes more like a dramedy. The 1970s one becomes almost more unhinged. At points, it's basically like Benny Hill. Like I was waiting for like like it's a sexy party. Like they're swinging. Like it's just wild. Like it's so 70s. And even the ending of the 70s one with the like having to go to court and a supernatural killing because someone dies because you're having sex with them. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? It's crazy.
Computer sentences them to death by Snoo Snoo.
Yeah.
Like the saying goes, you can't always get what you want, but sometimes if you try real hard, you might get what you need. Because we're talking movies, we're talking Deux Femmes En Or, or Two Women, starring Catherine Gauthier-Heidman and Laurence Leboeuf, directed by Chloé Robichaud. Chris, I don't know if you know this, but monogamy was invented by men.
I think our relationship works best when at least one of us is on antidepressants. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? We are going to be talking about a French-Canadian film, or kind of French-Canadian films, called Two Women, or Deux Femmes En Or. There's a 2025 version we're going to talk about, which is based on a 1970s version. And helping us out, we reached out to the Belle Provence, and our guest is Anne-Julie Lalande. She works in film distribution and international sales at Filmoption International, where she supports the release of independent films across Canada. And then she's also going to tell you more about herself. So do you prefer your whole name, Anne-Julie, or just Anne, or how would you like to address us?
You can go with AJ. It's usually the simpler way to say my name, whatever language. So,
fantastic, AJ. Well, welcome to the show. It's great to talk about French Canadian films with someone who's French Canadian. So I just did a little bit of your bio. What else would you like our audience to know about you?
Well, honestly, I've been working in film for a bit, I guess around 10 years now, which is kind of crazy. I studied at Concordia in film studies, and then things happened. I met people. I did many, many jobs in film programming, distribution, preselection. I worked at 2 independent cinemas in Montreal, Cinéma Public and Cinéma Moderne, which I do want to plug right here because they're the best cinemas in Montreal. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it about me. Now I work in distribution and sales and do many things at this company called Filmoption International. It's an old company. It's been around for 45 years. We're constantly renewing things there since I'm one of the youngest working at the company now. And yeah, that's it about me, I think.
And so you are actually getting ready to head off to the Cannes Film Festival, correct?
Yeah, it will be my first year going, and it will also be my first real experience as a sales agent for Filmoption, because I was mostly a coordinator for the 2 years I've been there, working on national distribution releases, etc., etc. And yeah, it's going to be my first experience as a sales agent. So I can also talk maybe about this one movie we have coming up that's really cool called Montreal, My Beautiful. It's with the legendary Joanne Chan, and she speaks French for the entire movie. So that's amazing. And it's going to be the market premiere of the film at Cannes, and we really hope that people are going to watch it, enjoy it, buy it, show it in festivals. Yeah.
Well, whenever we'd be happy to get a screener for that whenever that's available, or any other films that you're pushing, feel free to let us know, and we can either have you back on or we can then review them ourselves. Scott, do you have anything for our guest? Any questions?
Yeah, so with Cannes being your first time, like, how do you prepare? Like,
that's a good question.
Are you worried kind of like I know myself, if I went, like, I'd probably be fangirling like crazy the whole time. Like, how do you differentiate between the business and the pleasure?
That's good. Well, I just went to the EFM in Berlin, so I have this one experience of an international market, and I kind of know that I will just be booked with meetings for the entire days that I'm there. So I'm not too stressed about meeting famous people that I would swoon over because I will just not be in the same room as them, probably. But I am a bit stressed about seeing films. I really want to watch movies. I have a list of films that I want to see, and it's going to be a day-to-day thing where I'm going to have to check my schedule with if I can make it to this one film that I want to see, or if I can watch it. Like there's also market screenings online, so I'm going to try and catch some. So I'm making my schedule right now, hoping that I can fit in as many films as possible. But I do have to say that when the official competition was first out and I saw that Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor would be there, I was anxious. I was anxious.
What are some of the films on the top of that list right now?
I'm very excited to see the new Lynn Ramsey film. Big fan of Lynn Ramsey. And a friend of mine, well, many friends of mine have read the book that it's based on, and they say it's amazing. So that one would be my top one. I'm excited for sure. I guess I'm curious to see the Ari Aster film too, because I loved Hereditary and I did not like the two after. So I'm kind of hoping it's going to be how should I say it? I do hope that I can understand cinema again, maybe in the same way that I did with Hereditary. I'm excited for the Linklater film. I'm excited for the Kleber Mansao. I can never pronounce it properly. I'm excited for many films at Cannes this year. Nouvelle Vague. Yeah, I just said it. Yeah, I just said Linklater. I wanted to see the Kristen Stewart film as well. I'm excited to see her debut, how she works as a filmmaker, because I know she directed a short a few years back, but I've never seen it. But honestly, the way I function, it was the same at Berlin. It's just whatever is on the schedule that I'm capable of going to, I will. So that's just what's going to happen. And I hope I can see films that I wouldn't have seen any other way, have some nice surprises. Yeah.
Fantastic. Before we get to the film, I do want to ask you, are you comfortable just talking about Quebecois cinema in general, like its value, place in the province? Because it seems like Quebec is the only place that can make its own films and then show its films, and actually, you can have a whole career in Quebec. You don't have to rely on Hollywood studios or anything like that. First off, would you say that's accurate? That the Quebecois film industry is kind of self-contained? And yeah, anything else you want to speak about that? Because I think this film, especially its original, it holds a fairly prominent place in Quebecois cinema. I think maybe just because it made a ton of money for what it was, and again, anything you can speak about as far the Two Women film within its spot as in Quebec cinema. That was a super bad ramble. Sorry about that.
It's fine. I don't know if you noticed, but I ramble a lot too. So, well, that's very dense for sure. I mean, since I've been working in distribution sales, Filmoption is an interesting company because there's also production and post-production. So I have the luxury of seeing a lot of the process of films just happening and being born, developed, produced, post-produced, and released. I see many steps. So for Quebec Cinema, there is money from Telefilm, just like anything in Canada. There's also SEDEC that gives money. Sometimes there's also funds from cities and everything. I don't know how self-sufficient it is. It really depends on if you get the funding or not. I guess, honestly, pretty much any film in Canada.
I guess what I mean by self-sufficient is you make films in Quebec that you consume in Quebec.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I mean, it really depends on the film. It really depends on the film. There are some, mostly the crowd pleasers, popcorn movies. They can be very good too, of course. That will be seen by Québécois and Québécoises. But indie films, It's more complicated. It is more complicated. Many films that are very, very good in Quebec are not going to make any money. People are not going to see them, or they're not even going to be released in many cinemas. It's really a gamble what works and what doesn't, except for the films that I would say have like the big stars that people in Quebec really look up to and really love through the films they made, but mostly TV too. TV is really, really big in Quebec. So, well, I mean, probably anywhere, but there are like some specific series where big, big, big names are just going to appear in or even have lead roles. And that's going to bring people to the theater to see the characters they see on TV every day of the week or almost. To see, that helps bring people to the theater having big names, but I wouldn't say it's really self-sufficient. No, indie films that are not crowd pleasers do not make money usually. There are some exceptions, of course, but yeah, it's a gamble. That's mostly how I would say it is for films in Quebec made by us.
So actually, your comment about TV or television in Quebec is actually an interesting jumping off point, because for the remake of Two Women, you have Christina Gauthier-Heidemann and Laurence Leboeuf. They both come out of TV. I'm assuming Laurence Leboeuf is the bigger of the two actors on TV, but is that accurate? It just her IMDb looks much bigger. She was in the Little Queen film, which is also by the same director as this, but also 15 Love, Trauma, Transplant, and Three Pines. Also in Shoresy for those of you in Ontario. So, who would you say that Laurence is the bigger of the two actors in Quebec?
I would say she's a bit more known, but she's mostly known for being a drama actress, and Karine Gontier-Inman is more of a comic like actress. She was in this series called Like Moi. She was in C'est comme ça que je t'aime, which was a very big hit in Quebec too, 3 seasons. So both of them are, I would say, pretty much the same amount of famous, but they have very different roles. And Laurence Leboeuf came way earlier than Karine in the Quebec scene.
Okay. Scott, do you have anything right now? And then we'll get like really into this film.
Oh, no. I think let's get into it.
All right. Take us away, Scott.
Well, do you want to give like a synopsis kind of thing of what this movie is? I mean, it's pretty much like...
I mean, I can do that, or AJ, do you want to?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh my God. I mean, I can try.
She's like, I did not prepare for this.
I'll do it. Okay, and if I miss anything, you guys can just fill in the blanks. I mean, essentially, this is also against a remake of a 1970s film where two female neighbors, basically are finding that they're not happy in their relationships, and they start seeking other validation, typically through the delivery men and women and the service providers that come in and out of their lives. So it's a sex comedy is how it's kind of billed. I thought it was very funny. Did I miss anything that's important if we're talking about this film, or?
No, I mean, I think that's a good synopsis. The one thing I would add that I think is interesting is that, yes, it's a remake of the 1970 film, but it's mostly an adaptation of a play that was done in 2022, I think, from Catherine Léger.
Okay.
And she adapted the 1970 film, and this screenplay is also written by her.
So and you may, if you know this or not, so I'm assuming the play... The play adaptation that she did is much closer to the film that we're talking about, where the 1970s film, although it has the same two people, it's in the suburbs. This is in like a co-op. There are some big structural differences between the two films, and I'm assuming her play, the play that she adapted, was the genesis for the screenplay of the 2025 film.
Yeah, exactly. I have not had the luck to see the play, sadly, but a friend of mine has seen it twice, and he confirmed that, the film is very, very close to the play.
Well, and you could see how this would be done on a stage, right? People come and go through into a house, boop, 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 boop. And this is actually, I would argue that this is one of the reasons this particular version is not as expansive. It's much more contained. Where the 1970s film, like, he goes to the Grey Cup game, they go to Toronto, like, they're all kind of all over the place, where this is primarily, except for the Montreal Canadiens game, is primarily, like, in the condo complex, I would say.
Yeah, that's true.
So what did you guys think? What did you, AJ, why don't you start off? What did you think of this film? And, you know, you can riff off, like, the 70s film, whatever, however you want to do.
Well, I had the luck to see the film for the first time in February at a kind of a congress for theater owners in Quebec. And I was sitting in one of the theaters. There were 3 cinemas playing the film at the same time for everyone to see. And I was sitting there with 2 coworkers of mine. And we were just laughing our ass off the entire time. We had so much fun, and everyone was so prude in the theater, and I was very, very surprised by it. Because we were just having so much fun. Because Quebec Cinema we have great comedies. We have very, very good comedies. But I have to say that it's not very often in my range of humor. But this one really, really is. It's really my kind of jokes. Deliveries from Karen Gontier-Hinman are my favorite thing. Just the way she says things, her tone of voice, she is incredible. I love her.
Is there a comedic scene that stands out, like, kind of in your mind right now?
Oh, that's good. It's just the little things. Like, there's this moment in the beginning of the film where her son draws her someone getting a soccer ball in her face, and she just asks why, and the way she says why is just so funny to me because it's so dry but also so genuine. She really wants to understand, like, why is this, and why is it even funny? So yeah, her dry way of saying things is so good to me, and the scene in the bar too is incredible, especially since it gets very dramatic very quick. So she can go from one range to another very quickly. She's really good. But the entire film to me is just smart, funny, sexy. I would say I have some. Since I watched it for the second time now, I did notice a few little things in the writing that were not perfect.
Go ahead. Yeah. No. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. This is what we're here for.
Okay, amazing. But I wouldn't say they don any. It's not negative, even if it's not perfect. Just how much can we spoil here, or what's the?
Listen. I mean, a lot of people are probably not going to get a chance to see this when it first comes out anyway. I mean, let's try to keep some stuff, but if you got to spoil something to make the film sound interesting to people, let's do that.
I will not spoil. I will be generous and let people see the film themselves, because I wanted to talk about something with the ending. But let's just say that the conclusion of the film is not 100% satisfying to me. There are some little holes in the way it concludes, I think. There are little things missing that I wish we could have seen or heard or understood in a better way. And I guess there were a few other things, but it's going to come back to my mind the more we talk about it. But just the fact that because the 2 women, one is working, but we understand, depressed and has stopped working to heal. And the other one is not working because she just had a baby. Mm-hmm. And the one who just had a baby, I could not stop thinking about, like, where is the baby?
Oh yeah, I mean, it does come up, and then they do get the baby into daycare, which then gives her more free time.
Exactly, and that's good for the screenplay too, because I was like, okay, girl, now I'm not asking myself, where's the baby? It's in the daycare. We're good. Just do you. But just little details like that are really not that important. But overall, I really don't have any negative thing to say, except that it's sometimes a bit clumsy.
Yeah. So first off, I would say that the comedy in this, what I liked about it is it's the way life can be funny in reality versus like a really constructed or contrived comedy, like for example like Step Brothers or like a Will Ferrell movie where you have like comedic beats that are like jokes that are almost written in there. Their lives are just get funny because there's, you know, getting involved with these men or these women, like I said, and just that's the situational comedy of it, like sit-comedy of it is
100%.
Fun. One of the probably one of the issues that really stuck out with me as far as like the characters was the woman. I actually didn't like the device of the mental health stuff, because the idea that she goes off her antidepressants and then now she's more liberated and free. And I do understand that people that have depression issues, this is actually something they talk about. But to me, the problem with that is it sort of says like, oh, you're only doing this, and I'm going to use this term specifically, like, because you're crazy. Like, you're being crazy. And her husband even kind of says that. And maybe I'm just being like overly sensitive to that point. But I would have preferred, because I mean, in the original, the 1970 ones, they're just bored. You know, they're just like, the one character in the 70s version basically is like, let's have our fun while we can. You know what I mean? Because we're not always going to have, what is they refer to, like, not the goods, but basically like the option to do this. So let's do this now, right? So that was kind of the only thing I didn't enjoy was I wish they wouldn't have made her have to have like a mental health issue in order to be kind of taking control of her life again. What about you, Scott?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I enjoyed about this. Now, this film won at Sundance for writing.
That's
from
correct.
What I saw.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Like, the more after I've watched this film, like the more I thought about it, like this is going to be a bad pun, but I find this movie is kind of like an onion, where like it gets peeled away,
or a parfait, or an ogre.
Not really a parfait. Oh, okay, sure, we're going Shrek style. But yeah, like, because like to me, I think like this started as a comedy, but I think it ends like a dramedy. Like it's drama by the end of it, and you realize like how devastating and how much kind of like these choices kind of affected not only themselves but like technically that whole fucking co-op, right? Like, to me, the star of this movie was Manny Solomenlu.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's how you say his name. The fact that he was so like his character was so against change and stuff, that like he literally had, like you're saying, like no like mental health problem, but because he couldn't deal with like what was going on, all of a sudden he starts taking all these antidepressants to try to have some kind of balance in his life.
Yeah, unprescribed by a doctor. He just starts taking random SSRIs.
Terrible decision.
Yeah, I found it like laugh out loud fun. And again, if you're not experienced with Quebecois, like the French and stuff, because you're, you know, obviously outside of Quebec or outside of Canada, they have a very specific French. And this definitely comes up in the 1970s version that I picked up on, was the use of the word tabarnak.
Oh, the fucking phone's ringing during hockey night in Canada. Calling during hockey night in Canada.
Which it's like the catch-all, like swear word, exasperated. Like I don't know if they used it in this film, but when I was reviewing the 70s version, it's in there a lot. And the interesting thing about between these two films is I found the 70s version almost evolved, where Scott just said like the more recent film becomes more like a dramedy. The 1970s one becomes almost more unhinged. At points, it's basically like Benny Hill. Like I was waiting for like like it's a sexy party. Like they're swinging. Like it's just wild. Like it's so 70s. And even the ending of the 70s one with the like having to go to court and, you know, a supernatural killing because someone dies because you're having sex with them. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? It's crazy.
Computer sentences them to death by Snoo Snoo.
Yeah. Where, like Scott said, like this is definitely, it starts out as a comedy and it ends as a dramedy. I do love that, like almost final. Actually, I probably would have used it as the final shot where she gets in the cab and everything's kind of tense, and then she catches the man's eyes in the rear view, and it's like, yeah, it's on like Donkey Kong, but baby, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, and also it's nice because most men in the film are very famous in Quebec for specific little reasons. They're mostly comedians, stand-up comedians that we see in the film. And that one at the end is a very famous singer in Quebec.
the cab driver?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So there's
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff that you guys are picking up that like a general audience probably isn't.
Yeah, that's something I thought about when I was invited to the podcast. I was like, I hope I get to talk about this very briefly because it's interesting to me that there's these very specific Québécois jokes, but that they're like everyone's still gonna laugh and have a lot of fun. It's just inside jokes for Québécois, I guess. And I do think that since we were talking about Québécois box office and who goes to the movies and everything, those little cameos are really, really going to help with the box office and with who is going to go and watch the film, even if they don't know that the person is going to be in one very tiny scene, like the one with the sink.
Yeah, the plumber.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's Claude Legault. Claude Legault is not only very, very famous in Quebec, he's like the hot man in Quebec. Like women swoon over him, whatever their ages are. So the fact that he's in the trailer, that's really, really going to help with ticket sales.
So there's all these like kind of like sexy French Canadian men that people know in this
Yeah, and
film.
it's funny because, yeah, but some of them are really, really not known for being sexy, which is even funnier. Like the one who helps her reorganize her library. That's Arnaud Soli. He's a very, very famous and very funny Québécois comedian, but he's never done anything like this before. He is not known for being hot, like at all. So it's even funnier because he is very cute. It works. His character is like one of the most charming ones. But yeah, it's very fun. And the one woman that we see,
the window cleaner, the window cleaner,
yeah,
or,
the window
yeah.
cleaner. That's Chloé Robichaud, the director. That's her girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought
And
that
she's also a
transition
comedian.
was so good too, like the going back and forth between like same-sex partners, you know, the opposite of same-sex partners. I don't know, my
The
brain went,
opposite.
yeah, whatever the opposite is. So do you say your last name Robichaud?
Robichaud.
Yeah. How popular is she in Quebec? Like she did Sarah Prefers to Run, which went to Cannes, Le Jeu Haro, the Days of Happiness, Boundaries, and then she has a web series called Féminin?
Féminin. Yeah, the first time I heard about Chloé Robichaud was when she did Sarah Préfère la Course. I guess that was like 2011. It was a while back, but my favorite thing from her is her web series, Féminin. It's the humor in it is very close to Deux Femmes En Or. The dryness of it, but also being very close to the characters and hiring very, very talented actresses to do very small snippets of their life. Yeah, Féminin is like the one thing I really, really love about Chloé Robichaud. I don't know if I would say that she's famous. I think that people do know who she is in Quebec because every time we have a director that has their work seen internationally and being recognized, it's going to be in every newspaper. It's going to be headlines and everything, but it doesn't necessarily bring people to the cinema to watch the film, though. So even if people probably know who Chloé Robichaud is, I don't know if they've seen her films, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You're like, she's
Yeah.
big. She's a big enough name that people recognize it, but they may not be able to place her
Yeah.
or whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know the box office like numbers on her films, but I doubt that they would be very, very high. But I do think that this one has a very, very good chance of being higher.
I couldn't find a budget just from watching this and working in the cinema space there. Do you have a rough idea, like considering who all these actors are and stuff? Like, do you have an idea how much you figure this film cost to produce?
Honestly, no. I really don't know. I wonder. I should have asked some people I know. No, I don't know. I would say it's probably not more than 10 million, but who knows? Who knows? The scene at the Canadien game, it probably cost more than I thought about. But it's a good question. I don't know budget wise what it would look like, but I don't think it's that high, and if it is, it would be for the actors. Yeah.
Scott, do you have anything else?
Yeah,
because I want to see if I can find this budget.
No, I was gonna say, like, how you're talking about this, the Montreal Canadiens game. Like, I think that's kind of like what Chris was saying, like in terms of like Quebecois cinema. Like usually, like any kind of movies that I've seen, like to get that NHL license and actually using the symbols, like that should have, like, that probably cost.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't.
And it looks
about
like
it, but yeah.
I was gonna say, it looks like they're at the Bell Center too.
I don't know. Maybe there's this smaller, big arena close to the Bell Center, which is La Place Belle, Belle Place in Laval, close to Montreal. So maybe they went there instead. I don't know where it was filmed. Maybe it was at the end credits. I didn't notice, but it could be in a smaller arena. But yeah, as you say, just having the licensing of the thing must have been. I don't know how much it costs. I don't know. I if I had to write a screenplay, I don't think I would write a scene there because I would be too scared of the price.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's funny, Scott. I actually thought you were going to go more with the idea that, like, a lot of times, like movies that shoot in Toronto is standing in for something else, where she's like, you are clearly in Montreal. Like, she wants you to know you're in Montreal. The Montreal Canadiens, like, they're clearly very proud of the fact that this is a Quebec film, shot in Quebec, and actually takes place in Quebec.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah, like I totally agree, and I think that's kind of what I'm saying. But like normally, like, you know, it would be like if this was freaking Ontario, if this film was, or if it's ever adapted elsewhere, you know, it won't be the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? It's gonna be like,
it'd be an American
Toronto
team or something like that.
Yeah. It's gonna be like, or even like it ain't gonna be the Chicago Blackhawks. It's gonna be the Chicago Whitetails or something like that. Just a made up NHL team, right? That they're all fans of.
So, AJ, I've got a quote here from Variety, which I kind of want your take on. So, Alison Simone from Variety had this to say: "Why aspire to remake a sex comedy with a feminist gaze if you don't even bother to give the main female characters some backbone?" I didn't feel that they didn't have any backbone in this film.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
So, I definitely want your kind of feeling on that.
I just don't agree with that at all, but it's their opinion. I feel like they're very well-rounded characters. And even if I do agree with what you said earlier about the mental health weird take on it's because she stops taking her pills that she does blah blah. But I do like that mental health is addressed. And the way it's addressed too. Well, I mean, she clearly has she fits a certain BPD criteria or something like this that we do see a lot in films in general, and in films where we want to have a liberated woman character. But I do feel like it was very well approached, that she was really well written, that we're supposed to be very empathetic towards her and understand her and be on her side. And we understand that she had a job before this. We understand where she comes from. We understand both of their backgrounds very well and their differences. And no, I don't agree that there's no backbone there at all. And also, like, the other woman character, Juliette Garriépi, the one, forgot her name in the film, but she has bleached eyebrows. Yeah, the affair.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bleached eyebrows. That's how I'm gonna name her. I really forgot her name in the film, but she's also so good and so funny, and she has a very interesting character that we don't know much of her background, but she has so much personality. And yeah, I really don't understand where that comes from. The idea of them having no backbone to their character. And the idea that the way that she starts the sentence also by remaking a sex comedy from the 70s. yes, it's a remake. As we said, it's mostly just an adaptation of the play, but it was such a big film in the 1970s in Canada. Like, it was a huge box office hit, even if it's completely ridiculous. But it was the perfect time to release it. There were many sex comedies made in Quebec at that specific period, and people would go to see it. They wanted to see boobs. Like, that was the thing in the 70s. And when you talk about this specific film to like my parents' generation, or close to, like people that are between, I guess, 55 and 80 something, they all remember the 1970 film very, very well. And they're going to tell you that it was so dumb, so stupid, that they hated it.
Yeah, but everybody must have seen the fucking movie, because it made like $4 million in the 70s.
Like, they say that, but they all paid for it. They all went to see it. So
it's like Nickelback, right? Like, everyone's like, oh, I hate that band. I never had those albums. I'm like, I don't know. They went like quadruple super platinum, so somebody were buying those albums.
Yeah, Photograph plays on the radio and you sing.
That's right.
But yeah, so to start the quote with this, and then like I do think that there was something very interesting in adapting this story, because it was a story that Québécois people knew, and it was taken in another angle completely, and now it's adapted into a film, and it's going full circle. And I mean, especially if you compare the two, if you want to compare them and say that Laurence Leboeuf and Karine Gauthier-Inman in that one have no backbone, I don't understand where it comes from.
I would agree with you. I just didn't want to be the person to say that, because I'm like, I am none of the demographics that is applied to.
Yeah, the woman is telling you, no, I don't agree.
Yeah, I found like I said, I found the 70s one a lot of fun though, and the way. The little bit that I do know about like the Quiet Revolution and Quebecois separatism and stuff, like you see the way they show the English, like they go to Toronto in the 1970s version, and the president of the company, Canada Life, basically has a British accent. Like, that's how English and annoying he is. And they like. Again, back to the Benny Hill stuff. Like, they're talking about that basically, like, maybe not quite the FOQ, but stuff like the FOQ. And the cop comes in, he's got like a handful of dynamite, and he's just like, we found this in a post box or whatever, and just throws it on the table. Like, it's almost like sketch level comedy, where this current film, like I said, and Scott, I think, hit it on the head, is more of a dramedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did think the same thing. It feels like a sketch comedy film, especially since like we don't even see it's a sex comedy, but we don't see any sex. We never see any sex. We see a lot of boobs. We see some kissing, but we never see any sexual intercourse moments. It always skips. So it's always skipping between moments in the same way that it would with some sketches.
Well, like you said, the idea is to show the boobies, right? That's what got him in the cinema. That's where the $4 million came from.
100%. And it worked. So
I would say, I think that's what this one did well, was that, while these women are having, their trysts and like their interactions, each interaction was different, right? Mm-hmm. Like in terms of the intercourse, each one was like a different kind of, technically a different kind of intercourse that they wanted to try to fulfill, like the need that they believe they needed to fill, kind of thing, right? And that's the thing. Like, I think what it did well too is like these delivery people that had these trysts. Like, sometimes they wanted to do with the follow up, right? Like, the follow up would be free, right? Like, we can just come check, right? And then they're just like, no, it's done. And that's it, right? Now it's on to the new. Right?
Yeah, because even if there's still this idea of like, I'm not sure how to say it in English, but like vignettes of moments, and in the new version, we're closer to the women themselves and their desires. It's as simple as that. Like, the first movie was really just about having different moments that are going to make the audience react. And this one is about reversing the entire situation and thinking about how these women think, how they want to fulfill their, I wouldn't say boring lives, because it's really not the same as the 1970s one. And we talked about how it was about boredom that they had. But I'm getting lost in
That's
my
okay.
idea
That's okay.
here.
Yeah, like these characters are not only they more complex, but their motivation for doing the things that they are doing is also more complex versus just like, I'm bored, let's have sex. I'm bored, let's do this. Like, there's a reason, and you see that reason. It's written in. The characters are acting in a manner befitting their characters, right? So, and I thought it was like, there's some really hot scenes in this. And I don't know if it's because the director's female and also like LGBTQ, like that oral scene, like where he goes down on her, that felt very deliberate, like that they were going to make sure like it's not just going to be like flip you over and take you from behind kind of thing. Although like he does eventually then also just fuck her. So
yeah, boy.
But yeah, no, it's also this specific moment we can tell, like we know that this character has probably not had any good sex with her husband in a very, very long time. So there's also this at this moment, she feels desired and she's just giving in, and it's a beautiful moment. And I guess that's what makes it hot too. It's about women's desire, and I love films about women's desires being filmed by women, being written by women, because it's just hotter. It's just hotter.
One, it's going to be more realistic, right? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Scott.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, by the end of the movie, you figure this couple is just, hanging up the upside down pineapple outside their house, and then they're keeping what they have, but they also can keep like what they're also doing outside of it as well.
Yeah, they all just needed to communicate. That's always the moral of the story.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? I mean, okay. First, usually we do. Do you recommend the movie? Like, did you like over? I think we all enjoyed the film. Do you recommend it, and who do you recommend it to?
Oh yeah, of course I recommend it. I recommend it to anyone that's not scared of seeing a little skin on film. But yeah, because I mean, in the recent years, a bit younger people in my I wouldn't say friend group, but people I know that are a bit younger have had said things about sexuality on screen where they feel a bit less comfortable sometimes. I mean, I feel
I've
like
heard this, that like a younger generation does like prefers less sex in their films and stuff.
Exactly. But I would also recommend it to them because I feel like the way it portrays sexuality might heal a little bit of that that sentiment towards sex in movies. Because it's very empathetic. It has to do with the plot very, very much, and it is a way of oh my god, my English is just
it's great. It's way better than my French. So.
Out the window now. But yeah, it's reappropriating the main original story so well that I feel the main marketing of this film is that it is not the 1970 film.
Yeah. Like they're making a clear line between the two styles of these films. Yeah,
so I would recommend it to the younger generations. I would also recommend it to the people who've seen it then and didn't like it. I recommend it to everyone who wants to laugh too, because it is very, very funny. I don't know how, I haven't read the subtitles in English, so I don't know how the jokes translate 100%, but I feel like the way you're talking about it and what I've read on Letterboxd and everything, it's funny to everyone. But I really recommend it to my Queb peers because we want some good box office hits that are from Quebec, and we want some good comedies made by women. What
about you, Scott? Recommend it?
Yeah, no, I do recommend it. It's well done. I think, like in terms, like I don't think anybody can watch this, right? Well, except 13-year-olds
or people who can't read.
So, yeah, or people. Well,
as long as you speak French.
Who needs Babel, right? Just throw this on, right? Like you don't need Sesame Street for kids anymore, right? Just throw this on constantly. But yeah, but also I think film students, I think this would be a good one. Like especially like I'm saying, like in terms of writing, like I do enjoy like the character pieces, but also the nuance done throughout this film to make it like, because that turn from comedy to dramedy, it's so gradual, you don't kind of realize like that you had that switch until close to the end where, oh shit, this last like 30 minutes have been like fucking tight and like hardcore. But yeah, I would recommend it to pretty much anybody, especially Chris, because you know he likes movie time and sex time.
Yeah, I like all those things, and when they're in a different language, that's also good. AJ, do you think it's a good representation of Quebecois cinema?
Yeah, I really do think so. It's one of our good ones.
Guys, anything else before we get out of here? Or even, I mean, I'll ask my producer as well if he's got anything he thinks that we should talk about. You can just throw it in the chat that we've got going on. But Scott, anything else from you?
No, I'm good. I think we discussed this without having to spoil anything.
Yeah, AJ, what about you? Anything else you want to make sure that people are aware of in this film or about this film? To us, or to like even your peeps back in Quebec?
Not really. I think I would just add that maybe I talked a lot about how funny it is and everything, but it is also very touching. I was very moved by many moments in the film, especially in the last 20, 30 minutes. So it is a very good time and a laugh and everything, but it is just a good dramedy. It's the perfect word for it. The first one is unhinged AF, and this one is just a very touching, funny dramedy.
Do you recommend people see the original 70s one?
Oof. I don't think I would recommend it, but I would be like, if you're curious, sure, go ahead.
I thought it, like I said, I thought it was wild. I thought I think you could go through the 70s one and edit it down a bit, because there's some stuff like scenes like the shopping scene takes fucking forever. I'm like, what? Like, guys, just there's no tension in this scene. Let's just move on. I think it's a good example of like wild 70s filmmaking. Like, not quite grindhouse in the sense of like total exploitation, but it's like, it's on the line of like an exploitation film in the sense of the sexuality. Like I said, like the scene where they're having the house party and the one woman from work, right? These all work together, just starts getting naked and dancing on the table. And you're like, what? Why is this happening? And there's a dead body in the basement. Like, it's
it's bunkers.
Well, where can they find you? Like our listeners find you if they want to check out more of your stuff or more of your work in general.
Oof. Well, I guess LinkedIn is always the best space for that. But if they do want to follow me and see my Instagram stories of dogs, they can go ahead at ANNEJULIE _ on Instagram.
Fantastic. We'll also have that in the show notes. So, Scott, if there's nothing else for our guests, we're going to let her go.
Thank you so much for coming on, and enjoy Cannes. Hopefully you get to see your films and do some sightseeing too.
I hope so. Well, thanks for having me. Sorry for the weird English moments. This was my first podcast, not in French. So I do hope people are going to be kind. But yeah, thank you so much for the invite. That was really fun.
Again, thank you for coming on. You did exactly what we wanted, which was be able to talk about this film from the perspective of a French-Canadian woman. And that's what you did.
There you go.
And obviously, yeah, if you have any stuff you're distributing that you want us to take a look at, our email box is always open. So until next time, au revoir.
All right. Okay.
And that is our wrap for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends. If you want to get a hold of us, reach us at the www.howdyolikethatmovie.com.
So it's so crazy. Like as soon as we like cut out there in our break, our guest was talking about how the sexy husband in the 70s one she was actually on tour because he's like in his 80s now for a movie that they're distributing like last year or whatever. And she was like, yeah, it was crazy. Like I got to see him as this like sexy man being like naked all the time. And she's like, I was just hanging out with this guy eating pizza. So kind of funny. But you didn't see the 70s film, did you, Scott?
No, I didn't have time to watch it, you know.
It's go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, like, it does make me kind of wonder a lot, because a lot of the recent stuff you have me watching is a lot about you know, polygamy and shit like that. So I don't know if this is like a hint you've been trying to lay down. So I'm trying to like avoid as much polygamy shit as I can, because, you know, monogamy.
You're like, I have a wife and I want to keep her for myself, so stop asking.
And I don't want to give her any ideas. There is no way I would watch this movie with her. I'd be like, you ain't getting no fucking ideas. You work from home.
Actually, so unless you have anything else, I'm going to use a quote from the film to finish us out on the show. Are we good?
Good.
In a polyamorous society, only the handsome rich men get the girls. The ugly, stupid guys get nothing. Like, fuck all. Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.